In March 1603, an old woman sat in silence inside her palace. No orders, no speeches, no words. Servants moved carefully, afraid to make a sound. England itself seemed to hold its breath. For 44 years, one woman had ruled the country. She had survived betrayal, war, religion, and time itself. Her name was Elizabeth Tudor, and her life was not a fairy tale. It was a fight, a long, calculated fight for survival. Elizabeth was born on September 7, 1533. Her father was King Henry VIII, the most powerful man in England. But when she was born, the palace was quiet. No cannons fired, no celebrations, because Henry wanted a son. From the very first moment of her life, Elizabeth was a disappointment. Her mother, Anne Boleyn, was intelligent, ambitious, and dangerous in the eyes of the court. 2 years later, she was accused of treason. Elizabeth never saw her mother again. Anne Boleyn was executed. The child was declared illegitimate, no longer a princess, no longer important. She was abandoned before she could even speak. Growing up in the royal court was not safe. It was a battlefield without weapons. Elizabeth learned to stay silent, to listen more than she spoke, to observe every face in the room. She studied languages, history, and philosophy, not to impress anyone, but to protect herself. She understood something early in life. Truth does not keep you alive. Control does. When her sister Mary I became queen, danger followed immediately. Mary was Catholic. Elizabeth was Protestant. That alone was enough to mark her for death. A rebellion broke out. Elizabeth was accused. One cold morning, she was taken to the Tower of London, the same tower where her mother had been executed. Elizabeth knew the truth. If Mary wanted her dead, there would be no trial, only silence. She wrote careful letters. She denied everything. She waited. And somehow she survived. Not because she was innocent, but because there was no proof. That day, Elizabeth learned a rule she never forgot. In power, innocence means nothing. Evidence means everything. In 1558, Queen Mary died. Elizabeth was only 25 years old when she became queen. England was poor, divided, broken by religion. Many believed she would fail. Elizabeth did not rush. She listened. She waited. She understood something no one else did. She did not need to be loved. She needed to be feared just enough. Everyone asked the same question: who will you marry? A queen without a husband was dangerous. A queen without an heir was terrifying. Elizabeth refused. She flirted. She promised. She delayed. Marriage became her weapon. She used it to control foreign kings, to calm Parliament, to buy time. She once said, "I know I have the body of a weak woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king." It was not pride, it was a warning. There was only one woman more dangerous than Elizabeth: Mary, Queen of Scots. Beautiful, Catholic, with a strong claim to the English throne. When Mary fled to England, Elizabeth faced an impossible choice: kill a queen or keep her alive and risk everything. Elizabeth chose neither. Mary was imprisoned for 19 years. Plots followed. Letters were discovered. Rebellions whispered her name. Finally, Elizabeth signed the order. Mary was executed in 1787. Elizabeth claimed she regretted it. That was a lie. She knew exactly what she was doing. Spain watched closely. King Philip II wanted Elizabeth removed. In 1588, a Spanish Armada sailed toward England. Spain was the strongest power in Europe. England was weaker, outnumbered, unprepared. Elizabeth stood before her soldiers. She did not hide. She did not cry. She said, "I know I have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart of a king." It was not pride. It was a warning. There was only one woman more dangerous than Elizabeth: Irene. As the years passed, Elizabeth created something powerful, an image. She controlled her portraits, her clothing, her silence. White skin for purity, jewels for power, luxury to hide aging. She was no longer just a woman. She was a symbol. The Virgin Queen, married not to a man, but to England itself. This was not vanity. It was survival. Religion continued to divide the country. Catholics, Protestants, violence everywhere. Elizabeth chose control over faith. As long as you obeyed the crown, what you believed in privately mattered less. Some called her tolerant, others called her cruel. The truth was simpler. Religion was dangerous, and Elizabeth neutralized it. Spies surrounded her, letters were intercepted, plots were destroyed before they began. Trust became impossible. As she grew older, the crown became heavier. Friends died, advisors failed, money ran out, taxes rose, the poor suffered. This was not a golden age for everyone. Behind the makeup and jewels, there was exhaustion. Behind the crown, there was loneliness. She had sacrificed love, family, peace for power. In her final days, Elizabeth stopped speaking. She sat in silence, staring into nothing. When asked to lie down, she refused. On March 24, 1603, Elizabeth E. died. She left no children, no husband, no blood heir. But she left a legacy, not of kindness, not of perfection, but of survival. Elizabeth E. did not rule because she was lucky. She ruled because she understood the game, and she played it better than anyone.